Hello, I'm Ed Montgomery. Welcome. I'm calling this vintage wisdom. Let me tell you why I'm calling it that. Vintage wisdom is about wisdom that's been out there for a while. It's about grapes that's been on the vine, grapes that have finally been used to produce a wine that has been placed in a bottle, that has been put down in the wine cellar and has been laid there for a while, a long time. And then you bring it out right when it's time. The whole concept of not being condemned. Don't condemn me. Don't condemn me. A lot of times you got to begin with not how other people see you. Come on. It's based really, first of all, on how you see yourself. Because if you see yourself in a certain way, then you don't really give you don't really care what other people think. Now, I know we say that, and yes, I do care sometimes what other people think. I'm human just like anybody else. But when you're focused on the fact that I am loved by people around me, I'm loved by my family, I'm loved by God, I believe I'm loved by God regardless of what you think my shortcomings, my sins, and my mess ups are. I'm sorry to let you know this, but I'm on a different wavelength. I'm on a different vibration. I'm in a different space. It's all about how I see myself and looking at myself through the lens of how God looks at me. And when I can see that, and I not just feel good about myself, but I know good about myself. When I know that, then I'm going to think a little differently about how you think about me. It's going to change my whole attitude. It's going to change how I move through this world. It's going to change how I move in the corporate world, how I move in the business world, how I deal with my customers if I'm in business. I've learned that even in a church setting, it deals with how we deal with church. We're not so into, brother, you're going to hell if you don't just change your ways. We go a little bit different than that. We begin to realize, like my grandmother, who's gone on to be with the Lord, used to say, you can, kill more flies with honey than with vinegar? If you just treat people right. Care about the person that you're looking at, and instead of thinking that, I'm better than they are, it's no big deal. If you can look people eyeball to eyeball and say, I see somebody special in there, just like I see myself. What does that old saying say? Love thy neighbor as yourself, but you can't love your neighbor until you first love yourself. So what happens in life? If we find ourselves in a place when we should have stayed alert, and when we don't, and then we turn around and realize they've passed laws concerning voting, and you don't have the voting privileges, not just the rights. People say, well, they're not passing laws to stop you from voting, but they can pass enough laws to deter you from voting peacefully and voting on time and voting like other people, normal people, vote. If they can pass laws to where your school systems are taken over, and you've got to look to someone else as an authority figure, feeling as if maybe you didn't have what it takes to keep your system going. Or the same way with a city, someone comes in and takes over your city. As in Mississippi. And decides and says to you, You're not capable of doing this when you know daggone well that you are. Did we vote? Didn't we vote? Should we have voted more? Maybe we should have voted more. Yeah, we should have. But these are those places where it's too late. Sometimes in life, we just go to sleep. The spirit is willing, but the flesh became weak. Inside, we want to do great things. We want to see these dreams accomplished. We want to see our goals accomplished. We want to make good choices. But sometimes life can run you ragged. As soon as you think you got one thing accomplished, something else goes wrong. As soon as you've gotten past one obstacle, another thing pops up. What they used to say, one step forward, two steps back. You thought you had your relationship in order, and you find out that the person that you with, you could have done without them. You look around and you say, well, if only I had someone with me, we would be, whoa, so good together. And don't realize you're probably better off on your own. Because you might not be looking at this thing right. And there's some people that say, baby, you wasn't woke when you picked him, or you wasn't woke when you picked her. Someone our needs and what we want can lull us to sleep. And just because we want something flesh-wise, the spirit is saying, you better keep your eyes open. But the flesh says, look, I want to feel wanted and I want to feel needed. And then we find ourselves in this generation, this society that we live in with right now. And it all comes down to how I see myself. That's the reason I teach this so much. How do I see myself? How do you see yourself? Do you view yourself as prosperous? Do you view yourself as abundant? Oh yeah, you may want to go to sleep and say, oh well, I'm a poor old soul. I'm not any good. It seems that there are more people who are more worthy than I am. If other people can take over and take control of things, and evidently I don't have the strength or the mentality or the discipline or the right. No. Wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes. What do you think is going to happen with the stability of countries all over this world? The disunity in America messes with our economic stability. Disunity. And you say, well, what do you mean disunity? I'm talking about this Cold War that we're dealing with, we quote, race, unquote, within America. Have we not even figured out that we have been divided again? When race is not even a real thing, it is something that has been made up. The social construct. We're looking at a country that if we could just sit down, maybe I don't even know if you can have a town hall and talk about this thing. What this seems to be all about is how this country is to be run. And the center of this whole kabobble, if that's a word I can even use, comes from religion. Yeah. Religion. Everything seems to stream from religion. When you have uprisings, when you want conflict with people, one of the first things they did was let's get people to believe that Jesus was not dark, but white European. And if we can get Jesus that way, put Jesus in the sky, and keep that division there, then if he's the Son of God, then God must be white also. This is the religion that actually walked across on the shores of this country. We almost didn't buy into it, but people did. And what do? Who do you pray to a God who is of a different race or a different color than you and might not help you? So the religion from the very beginning, right on the shores of this country, was made to be white, not even the color of her skin. It was made to be this social construct, this concept of disunity. But that's what vintage wisdom is about. Vintage means when the grapes are crushed. What year? I believe we are in a moment and a time right now of crushing. It is a time where, as people, we're going to have to learn how to depend on each other. There are people out there right now that say, hey, we don't need you, you don't need us, we don't need you. But we're going to find out as Americans just how much we need each other, how much we can share with each other that can make this country better. Imagine walking into your house telling your significant other, I don't need you. We need each other. Our power is in our unity. But if we are deceived about who's better than who made this country, who was the one that created this country, you did, I didn't, you did. With that disunity, we cannot save the world. The world is going to stay on fire. Look, take a moment. Hit that button. Hit that like button if you like what's being said, because I can continue to say more. But in the meantime, if you're saying we need to come together into some real unity and understand some real spirituality, hit that comment button and say, I understand what you're talking about. I hear you. I hear you. Send it to me. Let me know that you're out there. Hello, I'm Ed Montgomery, and I want to encourage you about one thing. Don't you let your season pass you by. I've been talking on these little bitty clips about flowers and opening and blooming, but it takes pollination. In other words, it takes somebody going from one flower to another flower, and that's somebody, little bees and things of that sort. But just like bees will go from one flower to another flower and cause pollination and cause those flowers to reproduce, I think we touch each other's lives the same way. When we smile at each other, we reproduce joy and happiness. Our world needs so much. This is what ALC does. And when you give, you make a huge difference in our world. Take the time, go to myalc.org. That's myalc.org. Hit the donate button. You can give that way. A second way to give is to be able to use your text to give on your phone. And you can Send it to the number 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. And put however much the amount you want to give right in that text message part of it and send it safe and secure. Not only that, but you can use your app. Don't forget, if you're in the app right now, you can give through it right now. And then also, you can use your P.O. box. Just slip a check. People still do checks nowadays. Or you can give through your debit cards or credit cards if you got an envelope. But if you're just mailing it, put a stamp on that envelope and you can send it to Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas 77215. Thank you so much for everything you do, for your contributions. I really appreciate you. Thank you, ALC, Abundant Life Center, and for all of you, ALC globally. Thank you for being a part of our lives. I hope we can continue to be a part of your life. Love you. See ya. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button. Smash it, crash it. Let us know you're there.